why is this movie rated so highly? I mean, it's not a bad movie, The Jungle Book, but it's not a bad movie. It's an entertaining movie.
It's because it has Christopher Walken's blessing.
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna just jump right to the point, that's probably the heart of the matter. But
You know me, I always strike for the heart.
yeah, but let's. This is one of the stranger movies I think I've seen on Sage Verse. It's just it's strange in that I'm not sure why this was made.
I can tell you why it was made.
For Christopher Walken, yes. We've already established this, but I mean, like from top to bottom.
But also because they hadn't had a live adaptation yet. Actually, I think it did.
There's just been plenty of live adaptations
Actually,
of the Jungle Book. Remember 1994's Jungle Book, where it had Brandon. I forgot what was his name.
Brendan Fraser.
No, not Brendan Fraser. That was George of the Jungle.
That's gonna be different.
There was one in 1994. I think it was. I forgot the actor's name. He was also in Map of the Human Heart. I miss him.
Nothing that I saw.
Yeah, like it.
Was it direct to DVD or was it?
No, it was an actual film.
Well, you know what? We're living in an age of remakes, so
Yeah.
that's why this happened.
No, it was not Brandon Lee. Like I was about to say Brandon Lee. No, that was not Brandon Lee.
If 10 years go by and something hasn't been touched, it's time to redo it.
Yeah. But no, this movie has got me so flustered.
Really?
It really has. I want to say I like it, but I don't like it. But I don't hate it, but I do hate it.
On the spot flustered. Got it.
Yeah, it's really on the spot flustered. I'm trying to gather my thoughts about this movie, and words are failing me. This is bar none the strangest, most offsetting movie of the year.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, offsetting and just like
not offsetting in a put off kind of way.
No,
in a
like
off kilter.
Yeah, off kilter. Yeah.
Well, I can understand. No, not really. No, I don't understand why. I mean, I think it was just a harmless kids movie that.
It was a harmless kids movie that went into weird, dark territory. Like it felt like it felt like it was trying to be more adult than it actually really was.
Yeah, I got that. I definitely got that vibe.
And so like the tone just kept like just shifting all over the place.
And but in the funny little animals doing funny things, kids movie.
And then like all of a sudden the funniest shit, which was legitimately funny, which was legitimately good, just like sandwiched into this movie about like this dark, treacherous story of revenge and fear and
I think I know we're both definitely thinking about. We can both definitely agree on. A certain point.
Oh yeah.
That we'll get to.
Yeah.
We'll build there.
So,
but I know.
But my opening thoughts. I'm trying to wrangle what my opening thoughts are, and my opening thoughts are, what in the hell did I just watch?
I'm trying not to go right to the point that I want to talk about because I'm trying to have some finesse.
Something, but no, but when I think about the movie as structurally speaking, it's sound. There's no one part of the movie that doesn't work from a structural standpoint, except for the fact that I would argue that the weakest part of the movie is the main focus of the movie, and that's the child actor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's really the only person who actually has face time in this movie. Everyone else is just CG.
Yeah.
Like it was just animals and then like extras.
And the child actor's already at a disadvantage when he's the only person, when he's the Tom Hanks in his own movie.
Yeah, and considering how old this kid probably is, I'd say 8, maybe 9. He looks like it. Yeah, like this was a tremendous amount of pressure to put the kid under.
Yeah.
But
from his first line, I knew exactly how the rest of it was gonna go, in that regard.
I mean, like he's not Jake Lloyd bad. I mean, like Jake Lloyd in Phantom Menace bad.
Or Last Airbender kind of bad.
No.
Not that kind of bad, definitely not.
Well, this kid had a better script to work with. I don't think that kid had a chance at all, even if he was like a miniature Marlon Brando.
He had the bald head.
Yeah. like he just came in like a young Brando, just like, hey, I got all the charisma in the world, and I'm just going to read from this fucking M. Night Shyamalan pen script, and it's going to sound like... The words are going to be shit, but you're going to be enraptured all the same.
Yeah. Well,
but
that's not what it was.
No. Like this kid obviously has a bright future ahead of him, but his performance is just not there. He suffers from that kid acting syndrome, I suppose. Is the word.
Yes,
You're like,
but also I think that he probably had a lot of contemporary times to deal with green screens.
oh yeah, like a kid.
Mocaps and whatnot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
a kid having to use that much, and well, actually, you know what? Kids are supposed to have more imagination than us, so maybe he should be at an advantage.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, like not knowing exactly how this film was shot, but I could guess that there were some sound stages, so like he had an idea of where he was supposed to be, and this wasn't, like I said, a Star Wars situation where they're just on a blue soundstage, just kind of like, okay, you're talking to an alien and go. And Jon Favreau is certainly a more involved director than George Lucas. So I'm sure like the kid had all due proper tools at his disposal to put on a performance, but he has yet to mature to the point where he can actually utilize them, I think. Because he doesn't talk like a kid, he talks like a kid actor. And you all know what I mean. Like every single kid who has ever been the main focus of a movie, everyone from Macaulay Culkin to
Very unnatural, very aware of the camera. I mean, I can guarantee that when it comes to effects, I remember when I was chosen from the crowd, they said at the Small Soldiers segment of it was Universal Studios I went to see when I was like 9, and they said, "Oh, let's get that little girl out of the audience."
pointing to you.
Yes, I looked like a girl then.
Oh.
I had long hair and I had very, very girlish features. But I was wearing all camouflage because I was really into army stuff. I always got called G.I. Jane. But they, I was all hyped up for Small Soldiers. I loved Small Soldiers at that age. So I had my khakis on and everything. And they're like, let's get that girl out of the audience because they wanted to choose a girl for... And they had me go up there and put me behind a green screen, and I was supposed to act like I was, getting dragged behind the car like the toy soldiers were and everything. You're getting bumped and stuff. And I was just terrible. I mean, I was an actor. I was a child actor, and I couldn't sell that stuff for shit.
No. Did you?
I looked horrible.
I'm surprised you had the presence of mind to not be angry at them for calling you a girl.
I guess I was excited to be chosen because I guess a part of me knew that I was chosen because I was like the only girl wearing camouflage and really into it.
But you're not. But you're not.
There was a lot of boys.
Maybe the one girl in that audience at that one time would have loved to be in your position. Would have done it.
Yeah, there probably was that one girl there who was like,
and then what? He's not even a girl. And you could just see, like, the mascara running down her eyes. And
yes, because she's wearing makeup like a frickin' lady in the night.
She grows up to be some introvert. All she does is just draw. It's like, goddamn fucking asshole didn't pick me for that Universal Studios.
But seriously, though, I was wishing the whole time that they had chosen a girl for the actor for this instead of a guy, boy.
Considering what he wore, I think
because
that would have made
girls mature faster, so she would have had a little bit more confidence, maybe, or
I would say that they would probably have to change the costume, certainly.
Competence. Yeah, sure, they'd have to change the costume a little bit. But that's okay.
Like you wish
everything's being swapped these days. Go ahead.
So you're saying like it would have been better if it wasn't Mowgli, but it was a girl who was abandoned.
Yeah, Moglita.
Like we don't speak Hindi, so
yeah.
I'm not even sure if that's even a real name.
I don't think that this was a real place. What kind of continental shelf?
Yeah, like India. It's supposed to be India.
I know. I could see from the architecture, the ruins, that it was supposed to be, it was a Hindu influence. But there's no place that had bears and
tigers
and
panthers and
all of that
and wolves.
Yeah,
the wolves is like that's
maybe like at some point post Ice Age. I don't know, continental shelf.
Yeah, but
it was never.
It's
the Jungle Book.
Yeah, it's the Jungle Book, and for all intents and purposes, it is the Jungle Book. The story is pretty much beat for beat the same, keeping a lot, probably too much.
Yeah,
it kept a lot from that movie. Excuse me.
Except for when it comes to music, that was a little.
Yeah,
their choices, I guess, were good if they had to choose what songs to keep.
Oh yeah, they chose to keep the most iconic songs of the of the movie. But here's the problem there: if you're going to keep the songs, if you're going to keep just those 2 songs, but not the other ones, why have the songs? You have a musical number in your movie when your movie's not necessarily a musical number. It's not necessarily a musical. So, like, the thing that makes...
That's what it is jarring.
Yeah, so, I mean, on top of the fact you're hearing Christopher Walken...
Yes, finally we get to go to that. Yes, I've been waiting. So Christopher Walken voices Lord
King Louis.
King Louis.
King Louis.
Or a gigantopithecus.
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 Well, he's a giant orangutan. He's a giant orangutan, and he sings, "I want to be just like you. I want to be like you."
It's Christopher Walken singing it. Voicing him.
Whoopie doo. I want to be like you.
And it's got some of the features of Christopher Walken, definitely.
Yeah, like they definitely put an orangutan face, but with Christopher Walken's eyes and mannerisms.
Yeah.
That was.
I want to walk like you, walking like you, talking like you. Ow! God, gave me fire.
You sound like John Travolta
trying to do it.
You sound like John Travolta trying to do a Walken impression. I can't do one either, but
I was being trained to conquer galaxies when you were still learning to spell your name. Please don't put that on a soundbite or something.
It's going to be kept in the vlog. That's definite. Now you're going to be a little bit more self-conscious with your own ruly impressions, aren't you? You can't let that rip every day, you know? You got to hone it. You got to know your limitations. But
well, I'm trying to do an impersonation of Christopher Walken doing an impersonation of, I don't know who the singer was, voice actor was in the original.
His name escapes me.
That I saw over 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I saw it a bunch as a kid.
Me too. I saw it like a million times.
Yeah, it's a seminal classic as far as kids movies are concerned, and I understand completely why they kept the things they did, but that's where the off kilter thing comes in. Like the things they kept, I understand why they kept, but they needed to keep more things and get rid of some things that they did keep. Like if they're going to keep the 2 most iconic songs, Bare Necessities and I Want to Be Like You, and you're going to keep them just for Bill Murray as Baloo to sing, which, all right, Bill Murray as Baloo, it was fun. I'm not going to say it wasn't. I enjoyed his performance. I thought it was very funny. I really loved Bill Murray as Baloo, but he's not really a singer, which was his entire shtick whenever he did that Lounge Lizard Larry. No, what was it? I forgot his character's name from Saturday Night Live, where his whole shtick was that he sang lounge songs, but he just did it in his Bill Murray way, which wasn't really singing, and that was the joke. But if you're going to get him and Christopher Walken to shit all over these classic songs...
Oh yeah, Christopher Walken's was way more enjoyable because it's fucking Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah,
and if it's not legitimately good, it's legitimately hilarious.
Yeah, and like you bank on him for making any movie he is in that much more magical.
I really hope that there's like footage of him doing a mocap for the monkey, like Benedict Cumberbatch did for Smog, just walking around, just crawling around. Even though they had somebody else to do it, but he's like, no. I know it. No. You don't need to pay me. This is for my craft.
It's for my craft. I won an Oscar. I'm not shitting you. I won an Oscar. But returning to the notion of the songs in the movie, like, I hate them, but I love them at the exact same time, which again brings in what I said about it being off kilter. And the only other song from the movie that they kept, which is probably the only other song that any layman can name, is That's Trust in Me by Ka.
Oh, I get to objectify Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. And of course...
so she's the voice of Ka. And
the gender flipped Ka, whatever. I don't know.
Gender flipped Ka, sure. Yeah, of course, because, a woman would certainly be a snake.
Like it was either going to be a woman or an effeminate man. Ka was...
But, so she was fine. She was Scarlett Johansson. She has a very sensual voice.
God, but she cannot sing.
This is one of her better roles.
Yeah, but one of her better roles in a movie that probably could have done without her.
And had very little of her.
Yeah.
They had less Ka in this than they did even in the cartoon.
Which, like, when you look at the movie as a whole, the original Disney movie, like, Ka didn't really have a reason to be in there other than to kind of stretch the runtime.
No,
And he was kind of a joke character just for Shere Khan to beat up.
that is true. And they didn't have that happen.
No.
He didn't beat up the snake in this one.
Baloo just kind of comes in and saves Mowgli from being hypnotized.
Although, I guess hearing Johansson without seeing her butt was definitely, I guess, enlightening.
Yeah, like, you can try to appreciate
her as a voice actress.
And she worked well, but she only had one scene. She's not exactly a one scene wonder, in that like sometimes you see a performance that only is in one scene and yet just manages to just run away with the movie. Like a very famous example of that is Alec Baldwin in Glengarry Glen Ross, where he's just put that coffee down. All A, B, C. A always B, B, C closing. Like in a movie filled with great performances, he managed to outshine Al Pacino, Kevin Spacey, all of them in one scene because he was given like the best line of the movie. It takes brass balls to sell real estate, and he literally pulls out a set of brass balls. But going off, like arriving back from that tangent, it's not a one scene. There was no reason for Ka to be in this movie, even less so in the first movie than in here, and yet all she's here to do is tell Mowgli about how Shere Khan killed his father, and did we really need to see that? Okay, it was just assumed in the movie that Shere Khan had some history with Mowgli.
Yeah.
And I felt that was way better in the animated movie than here, where it was just some kind of turned it into a dark revenge movie.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That part.
I mean, that part. That's
it was the adult part.
That was the adult part, just trying to both sides of these movies are just crashing against each other, and it's a complete tonal whiplash every time it does. Because the movie wasn't really all that funny at the beginning of the movie because Baloo hadn't showed up yet, so it was just Shere Khan killing Mowgli's adopted werewolf father. I'm sorry, not a werewolf, a real wolf. Killing Mowgli. Yeah, killing Mowgli. Been a different movie. Yeah, I know. But killing Mowgli's adopted wolf father, and then just saying let news of my deed reach him, and let his drive for revenge arrive him to me, in that classic Shakespearean kind of turn.
This could have gone a really bad way if they had taken it full action tilt and given. When Mowgli goes into beast mode, he resembles wolf traits.
All of a sudden,
a shaman or something.
Or it tried to be the 1994 Jungle Book, where Mowgli is an adult.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
He's an adult?
Oh, yeah, he's an adult. Yeah. I know. And it's...
Well, shit, throw everything out the window.
I know. It just...
You mean Tarzan?
When I was a kid, I thought it was Tarzan, but it's no, it's the Jungle Book.
Oh my god, I know what you're talking about now, I think.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
There was a Black Panther, and there was
when I was a kid, I thought it was Tarzan too.
But no.
We were both duped.
No, but I just kind of was able to all right, I get why they're not talking, because real animals don't talk, and this is not a cartoon, which is why... The biggest swerve for me personally, that the thing that keeps me from being in groove and in sync with this movie, is the animals, because the animals are they tried their darndest to make the animals look as lifelike as possible, but to see them talk and to see them interact with the human is some of them. It's weird. And
well, they tried to show the animals initially. Making animal sounds as they do.
But that was bad child voice actors trying to do a howling wolf, and that's...
Oh, no. They would actually have, the animals...
roar, and...
They would do animal sounds, initially, while talking to Mowgli. And Mowgli might say, oh, do you have a language? How do you communicate with me? Yeah. And then they would start going back into English. So they were trying to show that Mowgli he's adopting his own language to fit every animal's different language, apparently, because he has tongues.
Like, he has the gift of gab. He's like Eliza Thornberry in The Wild Thornberries, I guess.
And, coming from a cartoon, I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, he does have to do that in the cartoon. This could be a really one-sided movie.
Yeah, I know, but like there was a lot lost in the transition from the animated cartoon to this movie. It's like they wanted to keep the talking animals because Jungle Book cartoon, but we needed to look like it's a live action, which means using CG and not like exaggerated caricatures of CG like you would see in like say a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
But it's trying to be like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
It was trying to be that kind of realism.
That level of realism, but you could buy that in there because that,
like, once you get to the baboon scene, if you were just walking in, you would think it was Planet of the Apes for a while there.
Yeah,
because
like,
it's
when the baboons abduct Mowgli to take him to King Louie, but taking that aside, there, I'm trying to. This is actually a good question. Why does it work in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but it doesn't really work here? And I think it has something to do with the apes themselves, because apes are very human-like.
Well, because they established a lot in Planet of the Apes of how they became that way.
Yeah,
I mean, great,
but even if we let go of the fact that it's used as a narrative device, like we were eased into it. Why does seeing a wolf speak look weirder than seeing like an orangutan speak?
One is more close to a human.
Yeah, like
one is more zoomorphic, the other's anthro.
Yeah, but but for a fact that's not human. For a fact, and yet for some reason with those eyes, with like those orangutan eyes, you can you don't hit that weird uncanny valley that you do with like wolves speaking or jaguars speaking. And it makes for a very weird experience. I use that word weird a lot, and I'm going to use that word a lot because I think that's going to be my main takeaway with this movie. This movie was weird, and both in good and bad ways. And I can't really come down. It can't really come down one way or the other. I can't. This is going to be one of those movies I'm going to wrestle with for quite some time.
It seems like CG is going to be kind of it's going to be a new area for a while. It feels like it's, I don't know, growing pains, trying to figure out how to adopt new ideas into CG.
I don't think this is exactly new territory, but I think it is.
It's been done before,
but it's not to this level and not to this effect. When you're trying to get real as lifelike looking animals to speak and do things that animals just would not do. I feel like the movie itself as a story is concerned, trying to return it is fine. Like I said, it's like the Jungle Book, but the things they changed about the story, besides drastically reducing Kaa's part of the story and getting rid of the jiving crows and the vultures, excising those out. The thing that the biggest change about the movie is the ending, where I kind of agree with it. I mean, it's kind of weird that Mowgli goes on this journey of self-exploration throughout the cartoon, and he's like, I'm going to stay in the jungle forever. And then he sees a hot babe, is like, see you guys, I'm going to the man village. He sees a girl gathering water for his village, and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to get me some strange. There was no such turn for this movie. In fact, the man village was only brought up briefly, and you only see it a few times. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm trying to parse my thoughts as far as what it's like, the root of its message. Feeling like you could be your own man without relegating yourself to one pack or the other. And I think that kind of rings hollow in this movie, especially since the central conflict of this movie is Shere Khan hates man, because like the fire destroys their home.
Well, I think if Gavin was here,
Oh,
is it that time? I think if Gavin was here, he would say that it means that it's okay to want to live in the animal kingdom and to want to have relations with the denizens therein.
Especially if they're big, strong kitty cats voiced by Idris Elba. Who's no Tony J,
Oh
but...
God. Classic.
Shere Khan. Classic. Yeah.
Oh.
But as I was saying, that like in the cartoon, like they scare off Shere Khan by tying like fire to his tail, and like, oh,
Oh yeah, that's right. You keep bringing up things I completely forgot about and from my childhood until now, because that's how long it's been.
yeah, but in the movie, like he dies like Judge Claude Frollo dies. He has that a big drop down.
Or Ian McKellen in what was it, King Richard III, I think.
Oh yeah,
falling
in
to
his
a fiery death.
Falling to a fiery death. I was about to say, well, he actually kind of died the same way in Fellowship of the Ring, didn't he?
Yeah,
followed.
Yeah, that's right.
Fighting the Balrog.
demon was
Fighting
the
the Balrog
Balrog was on fire.
Yeah, like falling into the fiery pit. So,
how many other movies? Is there any others he's done that? But
like seeing that, like seeing how that's how Shere Khan goes, and seeing how like embracing your man, like Mowgli's central conflict is trying to embrace his identity as a man, but on his own terms, rather than on any animal's terms or even man's own terms, feels weird. It's like it's centralized in this one line by the Panther. Bagheera.
I can't help you. Baguette.
I think it's Bagheera. Yeah, Bagheera. Bagheera just tells him, point blankly, voiced by Ben Kingsley, by the way, in.
Oh no! I kept hearing and trying to figure out. I was like, is that Colin Firth or is that? I was like, who that?
No.
No, it was Ben Kingsley. And normally I can recognize that guy, but
no, that's because you don't see his bald head.
I guess now I have really a lot of visual cues with that guy.
Yeah, but like telling him to like you need to fight him like a man. But like, didn't he kind of already tried to do that when he brought fire to Shere Khan to confront him? But then he puts it out. But now,
so yeah, I don't think that. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, from watching it millions of times as a kid, that he did not light the rainforest on fire or whatever.
No. It was Thunderstrike. It was a Thunderstrike.
It was a Thunderstrike. Yes, that Mowgli did not summon.
Yeah, it was a lightning bolt. Yeah. Like Mowgli summoned a mighty
Mowgli the lightning thief.
Like fucking Zeus on Mount Olympus summons a lightning bolt and zaps him good. Boom! No.
But in this adaptation, he steals fire like Prometheus, and
from the Man Village, yeah.
He steals it from the Man Village, and he carries it all the way across the forest to the Peace Rock meeting place.
Yeah, like how he must have flown. Like
he lights the entire fucking forest on fire on the way, and he doesn't even notice.
Like a single ember dropped, and then that was enough to light the whole forest on fire.
Did they show that it was a single ember?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that part.
Yeah, but like it was just a single ember just fall, but that was enough to set the entire forest on fire. Which, all right, like I'll forgive a movie for trying to condense the space-time continuum so that way Mowgli can run to the Man Village and to like the wolf pack within the process of what had to be only 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like even though it was,
I think that torch might have lost some power on the way there.
Either way, like forgiving all that, forgiving like the spatial reasoning behind the distance that Mowgli must have traversed in such a short amount of time, considering how long it took him to get there in the first fucking place.
I was kind of hoping by the time he got there, it'd be like this little, like candle. It'd be like, I have the power. Hey, is that you?
Shit. Fuck. I should have brought a Bic. But no, he comes, like he arrives with the torch, like you said, like fucking Prometheus, and then he says like, see, he brings destruction with the tool of man, and then he's like, you're right. And then he just tosses it aside.
It's like, a little fucking late. You just lit the entire forest on fire. That gesture is empty.
Obviously. But yet, like, even though Shere Khan was trying to get all the animals against Mowgli, and by all rights, Shere Khan kind of is on the right side of the argument here.
Yeah,
he
was.
did. But the animals are just not like, no, what? Fuck you, Shere Khan. I'd rather.
They start reciting the wolf pack motto, propaganda, etc.
Like as Baloo correctly ascertained, it was fucking propaganda.
Live as a wolf.
Like the strength of the wolf is the pack. The strength of the pack is the wolf, and blah blah. Blah. That is the law of the jungle. But all right, like skipping all that, like the central thesis of the movie, like seems to be like the strength of the strength of humanity lies not within the power of its destruction as represented by fire,
but rather having lots of cool friends.
That and ingenuity, like being able to build punjab sticks and being able to and like all throughout the movie, Mowgli is building all these contraptions that I don't know how the fuck he managed to like he just figured out on his own because
it's about being MacGyver is what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, like
he wasn't raised by humans. He was just a kid. In fact, he was raised to not build things. And he was swatted every time he tried to build something. No, put that shit down.
And yet he was able to build levers and pulley system. He built a rigging system to collect honey for Baloo.
This guy was beyond Home Alone level.
Yeah, this kid is just like a natural inventor and a natural scientist.
I was surprised that he needed to steal fire.
Yeah, personally.
Seriously, because he almost makes a fire every time he's trying to sharpen a rock.
Yeah, like you would think that like every so often, like you pick up some rocks and
like, oh shit, what was that? Like, that looked like the red flower.
Yeah. You'd think that would happen, but no.
The red flower, as they call it,
as the animals call fire. But oh god, that's what really trips me up about the central thesis of this movie is that like ingenuity is what separates man from animal, not the destructive power of fire, but that assumes that fire is innately destructive, which it can be, but that's all about how it's used. But fire in of itself is always used as a negative. Like it's always framed as this powerful force that both entices and burns and destroys. Yeah. And the ultimate act of letting go of man's destruction is putting out fire. So,
with gasoline.
Okay. Yeah, with gasoline. But then you come around and say like, no, the true strength of a man is like ingenuity. But like, isn't it man's ingenuity that allowed him to harness fire in the first place?
Yes.
So, like, wouldn't a true sense of ingenuity would proving to the animals that the fire is not necessarily evil, that is not necessarily destructive, that it could be used for in many ways, even though there's no appreciable way that an animal could use fire in their day-to-day life. So, like,
don't need to cook your meat.
I mean, like, that's where the thesis kind of loses me. Especially as heavily, they laid it on pretty heavily on this movie. It's not like. Yeah. It's not like Zootopia where where racism and bigotry was like the central thesis of the movie. Was the central thesis of the movie. So them being heavy-handed about it was, okay. Excuse me. It was sort of par for the course, especially if you're going to be in a kids movie. But whereas this is also trying to be a kids movie, but also trying to be a dark revenge movie and talking about something that is far more abstract. It's far more like no kid's ever going to be thinking about like the ability to make something. They make something and they don't think about the ability to make something. There's a specific word for there's the kids lack the self-awareness to realize that what they're doing is something unique unto their species. They probably won't arrive to that conclusion until like maybe 10, 11. Mm-hmm. And I think they're like an 11-year-old would just be kind of put off by the humor a little bit because it does feel because a lot of the jokes, even though they are funny, really play to a kid's sense of humor quite a few times. They might, and they're not sophisticated enough to get Bill Murray's sarcasm. So they exist in this kind of gulf where they're too old for the slapstick that happens in the movie, but not mature enough to enjoy Bill Murray's wry humor. So I think this movie fails.
Which is really not that much of, to be honest.
Yeah, but like what humor that there is, for the adults, which they'll chuckle with.
Like there was no bear jokes.
Yeah, which thankfully, fucking thankfully, but they're not gonna get why Bill Murray as a bear, as Baloo, is innately funny. They won't get to that until like they're 18 or maybe 20.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I'd imagine that there's going to be like a generation of kids who saw this when they were like 9 or 10 and just like, this is boring.
Yeah. I mean, the kids next to me seem to be
The kids,
pretty.
yeah, kept asking questions throughout the movie, which
Yeah.
is a kid's prerogative. I mean, they might enjoy like Mowgli running away from the
Pretty
game.
captivated.
Yeah, they were cooing about the young wolves. Like the littlest one of the kids were just cooing like, "Oh, it's a puppy!"
Puppy.
when they see the
Yeah.
little wolf.
Well, I
cubs.
was really, really surprised and happy though that the audience was very calm and collected, very quiet.
Yeah,
Very-
full packed theater too.
Yeah, and the parents, good parents.
Yeah, they tried to be as accommodating as possible. Although the guy I was sitting to the left of me was like both hands on the armrest, just spreading himself
Oh,
out.
really? Is that what was kind of
Yeah, that's what I was.
Going at you?
Yeah, like that's why I was.
man spreading?
Yeah, he was the king of manspreading. He was like King Louis in that chair. He was just like as wide as he could get himself, and he was just like this, just all throughout the movie.
Wow.
I had no idea why he was there. He wasn't a father, or if he was, he didn't bring his kids there.
Jeez.
So I had no idea why that guy was there.
Sorry, man.
I highly doubt that he goes home with his wife to talk about movies online like we do.
Yeah.
But the things that they added to the movie, I felt were
like that's funny. That's
yeah. But the things they added to the movie, like I said, the new ending where he just kills Shere Khan and like I'm going to be living with my friends here
Yeah.
because Shere Khan's dead and now there's no reason for me to ever leave. It's like, so I guess like the end of the day, it's just about finding your own comfort zone, surrounded by people you want to be surrounded with, whether they be humans or animals, and or if we're going to extend that metaphor into like find your place wherever it is,
yeah.
which is perfect. I'm perfectly all right with, but handled in such a way, it just kind of feels like this whole conflict was building itself up to be way more psychological and way more nuanced than it actually wound up being. It's like how do you put aside the way you were raised to fit into a society which you wind up will eventually be. And then it's like, nah, just kill Shere Khan. That's all you got to do. Just kill him. I mean, Shere Khan wants to kill you, so either he kills you or you kill him.
Well, you could say that Shere Khan killed himself.
Oh yeah, but
I mean,
fighting him in man's way meant tricking him.
Mowgli says, he goes up a dead tree because earlier Chekhov established that weak branches you shouldn't run on because they'll break.
Dead trees, yeah.
So he climbs up a dead tree that's been burnt by one of the trees that he destroyed with his fire, I guess.
Yeah,
And
in the previous life, or
no. Was that it would have taken that tree way long. It would have been on fire.
Yeah.
But it's a dead tree, I guess, from his dad's fire. I don't know. It's a dead tree, and he climbs. He makes like a freaking a pulley thing with the vines and attaches it to himself, and he goes out on the limb, and Shere Khan follows him, and he says, I'm not afraid of you anymore. And Shere Khan is apparently that goads him into trying to jump at him on the branch, and he jumps out of the way, and Shere Khan breaks the branch and falls down. You could say that Shere Khan's own his own rage killed him, but
well, it's not like Mowgli didn't taunt him, but that's I don't know. I think at the end of the day, that's not entirely
important.
No, I wouldn't say it's important. I'd say like that's more of an afterthought when you like compared to like they're not gonna have a scene where Mowgli, a kid, takes like a big old spear and just
that's true.
harpoons him or something like that. No, but they're gonna like the only logistical way that a kid
he does burn to death.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Are you like all you see are just a bunch of embers fly up into the sky, and that's just signifying that he.
Kids aren't gonna think that past that, I guess.
No,
But yeah, it Mowgli lights the motherfucker on fire effectively.
effectively, he drops him into a fiery pit. He goads him into he goaded. He goads him into into a fiery chasm. So, I as I said, like the movie felt like it was building up to something that should have been handled way more nuanced than it did wind up being. You know, like I thought it was going to be like, will Mowgli like choose the jungle life, or will he go back to the main village? Yeah. And it's just like it just didn't even fucking occur to him. It's just like neither. I just got to kill Shere Khan.
Really, he finished what his father started.
I suppose
Shere Khan was burned by his father. Yeah. Mowgli burned the rest of him. Yep. Shit, I mean, I'm kind of behind Shere Khan in this story. I mean, yeah, it looked like Shere Khan was invading the privacy of his father's cave. Yeah. But honestly, there's no context. That probably was Shere Khan's cave that was being occupied by his father.
Yeah, and like it, and more
putting way too much thought into this.
Yeah, like, but more interestingly is that they bothered to set up a backstory that he would like Shere Khan killed his father, but they never really bothered to explain why the fuck he was out in the jungle in the first fucking place.
What was he doing in that?
Like, what was he doing out in the middle of a jungle with his infant son? What the fuck were you doing, man? Yeah. It's like, oh man, I gotta get away from the wife.
Want to go camping?
And your guess is as good as mine. Like, if they felt like the need to give them this backstory, but not give, like, crucial details over why the fuck they went in the backstory. And even, like, forgiving the fact that Ka somehow knows knows Mowgli's backstory through jungle magic.
Yeah. And why are these guys out in this camping ground when they have this entire temple of ruins?
Yeah, like
they could be at. It's inhabited by the monk.
Well, considering what you had to do to get to that temple, I can imagine that he didn't want to climb a 1,000-foot rock face to get up there.
And hindsight, that's a good point.
Well,
but then again, Mowgli did it pretty easily.
Yeah, like he just kind of bamfed.
Oh, well, that's the monkeys took him up there.
Monkeys took him up there, but then how the fuck did he get down from there to go down to the man village?
Yeah,
like he just jumped, I suppose.
Jump back to America.
But
still, they showed that Mowgli could, make ropes to climb anything. And shit, the bear and the panther climbed the wall that the baboons climbed.
Yeah.
The bear did it.
Yeah, the fucking bear, the sloth bear.
Obviously, if the bear could climb, this could have.
Oh shit! But my question isn't like could they have done it? Is like my question would have been like why would they think to do that?
Lots of riches, maybe.
Like
rated.
They would. Yeah.
God, we are just going off.
Yeah, I know. It's like the movie played a weird game of give and take with the original source material. And what they kept was the iconic songs, but they didn't keep the rest of the songs. So now the two songs just kind of feel like, well, we have to have them in there because how can we have a Jungle Book movie without the bare necessities? And without feeling like the reason why those songs were so iconic was that they were a part of a whole menagerie of songs. It was a musical in the same way most Disney cartoons are. So like two songs, like it's not just a movie with two songs in it for some reason, this movie, which is as wonderful as
I asked you if it was a musical, and you said no.
It's like it's not, and yet
technically you were right.
Technically, I was right, but they kept the fucking songs because I guess some Jon Favreau just said, how much would I want to see Christopher Walken sing "I Want to Be Like You." And it turns out enough for him to want to make an entire movie pretty much centered around it, because they were building it up too. Like they were just like this mounting song. Like King Louie's getting angry and angrier, and then the music starts to slow. Like, oh no, they're not actually gonna do it. And then now listen here, man, cub.
And even when he started, I wasn't sure if he had actually started singing yet.
Yeah, like he says
it wasn't. His singing was so bad that you couldn't tell if he was singing.
And but then all of a sudden when he goes woo woo woo, I want to be like you.
You know it.
That's when I gave Gabe one of these.
I was already there. Oh man.
I mean, the reptilian part of my brain that just loves it when shit just goes off the rails was, fireworks going off in that space. And so on that alone, on just that alone, I am with this movie. Skype. Thank you, Skype.
Yeah, hey, Skype too.
Yeah. But as a whole, this movie fundamentally is so off. Like I said, I keep coming back to it. Off kilter. It's such an off kilter, weirdly paced and told and toned movie. It swings, like I said, it swings between revenge story and weird family comedy.
It really didn't need to have 80%. Was it 80% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, like I think it was something around 85 or something. It was certified fresh and like, but it's not a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie.
It's not
but it's not that good.
No, it's not even. I wouldn't even call. It's not a bad movie. It's not a good movie. It's not even
a movie.
But this is why I'm getting.
It's not a bad movie. It's not a good movie.
This is why I'm so flustered.
But it is the movie.
That's why I'm so flustered about this, because I can't in good faith call it a good movie. I can't in good faith call it a bad movie. And I can't even call it a boring, dull movie, because it's not. It's just a weird movie. That's all I can really call it. It's a weird movie that I think I have to encourage people to see, because if I told you that Christopher Walken sings "I Want to Be Like You" in this movie, you want to see it. If you're that kind of person, see it. If you're the kind of person who hears what I just said and says, "Oh," you don't need to see it. I think that's as succinct as I can possibly.
Although
make
you
this
could
movie.
certainly run Scarlett Johansson's voice acting for Ka at night before you go to bed to get to sleep.
That woman has a future in asthma videos.
Yes.
It's like
audio sensory. I love. It's good stuff. I've always been a very high. What would you say? What do they call it? A tingle head? Somebody who's really good, really.
I have no
receptive to it.
I have no idea. Like that culture is beyond me. But I don't know. Any final thoughts on this movie before we close this chapter in our lives?
She really does sound almost as sexy as she looks, doesn't she? That was just kind of put me off kilter, seeing as she was a snake. Definitely got to my lizard brain. Final thoughts? Does that work?
Yeah, I guess I suppose if those are your thoughts, those will have to be your final thoughts in this context. Till next time.